Hey everyone, Joe with Revolution HQ. We had a big day today in politics. Man, it seemed like it was just one thing after the next. Not all of it great news, but not unexpected news either. We'll get into what kind of effect I think it's going to have on the election with Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar both dropping out, and what that might mean going forward. So, I certainly don't think that it was a coincidence that Buttigieg, Klobuchar, both dropped out within about 24 hours of each other, or a lot less than that, actually. There was definitely some coordination going on here with the establishment and the Biden campaign. This does seem like it's an all out play by the establishment and the DNC to, you know, basically blunt any momentum Senator Sanders has going forward. And, I want to be careful not to say steal the election, but they're obviously very worried, and that's exactly what they're trying to do at this point. If 2016 taught us anything, it's that, what steps won't they take to stop this movement from going forward and from getting this nomination? Obviously, they have not learned any lessons from 2016. I was one of the people outside the Democratic National Convention in Philly begging the establishment to listen that Hillary Clinton would lose to Donald Trump. I remember being up against the barbed wire fences that they had all over, keeping the people out. Um, but, as the delegates and people in the convention would walk by, everybody, and I mean thousands upon thousands of people, were trying to warn. We all saw the signs coming that Donald Trump was going to beat Hillary Clinton. The momentum divide between the Trump campaign and the Clinton campaign was just too huge to overcome. You can tell just by watching TV, just by seeing what was going on across this country. If you listen to CNN and MSNBC and the establishment media, Hillary Clinton was going to win going far and away. But yet when you turned on the TV at a Trump rally, you saw thousands upon thousands of people there. You saw enthusiasm and people finally excited for a candidate. A little different from what the establishment has to offer. And, I'm the biggest critic there is of Donald Trump. He's a fraud. He's never been a friend of the working people. He's been an enemy of the working people his entire life. But he is a master con man. He is a master showman. And enough people bought his lie that you can just see what the difference was between their campaigns. Hillary Clinton could barely fill a high school gymnasium, but yet all the polls were telling us she was going to win big. But anybody who had a sense of what was going on the ground knew that it wasn't going to be the case. I wanted Hillary Clinton to win as much as I disliked her, but I just knew she wasn't. I mean, I saw all the polls. I saw everything the pundits could tell us that normally goes for standard elections was out the window in this election. It was Hillary was going to lose. She made a lot of mistakes, but not going to PA or Michigan or Wisconsin, yeah, all that played a role. But the biggest role was the lack of enthusiasm. And Donald Trump is going to paint Joe Biden or any other establishment candidate with the same brush. If Joe Biden does win the nomination, he's simply going to be Hillary 2.0. He's going to be the male version of Hillary Clinton. He voted for the Iraq War. He voted for all the trade deals. And that's what Trump destroyed Hillary Clinton with. That she was an establishment hack, that she made all the wrong decisions through the years, that she was responsible for the vanishing pension, for the high cost of health care, for pharmaceutical prices, from taking money from lobbyists. The only person he can't make that argument with is Bernie Sanders. So, obviously, the establishment has not learned a single lesson from 2016 because now they are pulling out all the stops to help Joe Biden and stop Bernie Sanders. This was definitely all coordinated. It was not a coincidence. Here's what I think happened, and from people that I've talked to, it seemed exactly what did happen. You can take it to the bank. Klobuchar and Buttigieg heard from their donors who were not going to fund their campaigns any longer, but did promise them that they will help them in whatever future endeavors they want to take on, whatever office they want to run for, or whatever the case. They got a pledge of future support from the donors. They were also in touch with the Biden campaign, who made some deals for very high-level cabinet positions should he win the election in his administration. So that is why Buttigieg and Klobuchar decided to drop out and endorse Biden tonight at his rally in Houston. This is an all-out effort from the establishment to circle the wagons around Joe Biden. The Republican Party tried to do something similar in 2016. However, they did it far, far too late. The Democratic Party did learn that lesson. They're doing it now. However, it still might be too late. There's been a ton of early voting in California. There's been a ton of early voting in Texas, which are the two major prizes tomorrow night for Super Tuesday. So I do predict Bernie is going to win those states. I do predict he's going to win Massachusetts and Minnesota. However, after Super Tuesday, it's going to be a dogfight. Bernie has to do very well tomorrow night. Just winning Texas, period, is going to be a huge win. However, in California, I do think he's going to win, but a lot of what's going to happen at whether there's going to be a contested convention or not is if Biden or Warren hit that 15% threshold to get delegates. That's going to be very important. If Bernie can do very well in California, run up to score, while no other candidates hit 15%, he can come out of California with a huge number of delegates. I believe there's 432 on the line in California tonight, or tomorrow night, I should say. If he can come away with a good majority of those, he has a very, very good path to a large plurality of delegates going into the convention. So, I don't know. Today was a big day. It was very, very disheartening and, dare I say, infuriating to see what tricks the establishment will play. They see their power threatened. They see their money threatened. They see their usual way of doing business in D.C. is threatened. And it's not threatened by a Bernie Sanders. It's threatened by we, the people. This isn't about Bernie Sanders. It's not me. It's us. Remember that. Not me, us. Because this is a movement of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's time we take our government back. It's time we take our government back from the billionaire class that has ran this country for the last 40 years. They've designed law after law with the sole purpose of screwing over working class people between vanishing pensions, the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. How many family-sustaining jobs were sent overseas? I mean, the jobs our parents and grandparents had that provided for their families by working in a factory. Where are those jobs now? Those jobs are gone. They had a pension to look forward to when they retired. They had some stability in their lives. They were able to work and live with dignity. Those days are gone. There was at least some fairness in that regard then. Over the last 40 years, the establishment, like people like Joe Biden, and Joe Biden personally, but people like him, from 40 years right up to present day, the Democratic Party started accepting money from corporations, from PACs, and a bunch of other dark sources, corporate sources. And slowly but surely, they've passed trade deal after trade deal to send family-sustaining jobs overseas, so the money goes upwards. This economy is now designed to send money to the top 1%. Bernie Sanders is the only candidate who is a threat to that, who is a threat to give this country back to its people, to give this country's riches back to its people, so people can work and live with dignity. It's long past time where the American people rise up and say enough is enough. The establishment thinks that they are going to steal this election again, like they did in 2016. They have another thing coming. They will kill the Democratic Party for decades to come. So let this be a lesson. Let what happened today be some inspiration. We have to get out and knock on doors. We have to make phone calls. We have to text. We have to post on social media. We need to work harder than ever to win this thing. This is the most important election of our lifetimes. I mean, I know you hear that a lot, but this is a chance. This is the first chance that people have to take back our government, to give this government back to the people from the billionaire class that runs this country. Bernie Sanders is a threat to their power. That's why the establishment is backing Joe Biden. That's why they're circling the wagons around Joe Biden. I implore you, do not fall for it. If you know people in any of the swing states, or of any of the states that are voting tomorrow on Super Tuesday and beyond, get on the phone with your family. Get on the phone with your friends. Go to BernieSanders.com. If they, ask them what policy proposals are important to them, what issues are affecting their lives. Get on Bernie Sanders' website, www.berniesanders.com, and go over the issues. Contrast what Bernie has stood for his entire life to what Joe Biden has stood for. Go over their policy proposals on their website. See the key differences and how it'll affect their kitchen table issues. That's what we need people to see. We can look back for the last 40 years or more on what Joe Biden has done and what Bernie Sanders has done. Bernie Sanders has fought like people, you and I, for his entire life. Joe Biden was a friend of segregationists. Joe Biden voted for the Iraq War. Joe Biden voted for countless trade deals to ship your jobs overseas so corporate America and billionaires can make more money. Aren't you sick and tired of a country that caters to the billionaires, where single mothers and parents have to work 2 and 3 jobs? How you go to the grocery store and have to stretch $1 further and further just to make it last, just to get the basic necessities to live. To get out of college with $50, $60, $70, $100,000 in debt, trying to start your life under that kind of crushing debt. I'm worrying about retirement with your 401k tanking in the stock market. The pension is a thing of the past, a guaranteed pension. And that was so corporate America can control our retirement. And make no mistake, they are going to come after your Social Security. Joe Biden has been very willing to negotiate Social Security in the past, and he would be again. He can't be trusted to help the working people. I have nothing against Joe Biden personally. I think he's a good man. I think he is, like the rest of Washington, D.C., bought by corporations. He takes their money. They don't give their money freely just because they like you, because they're expecting something in return. They're expecting laws that make them more money, that don't threaten their way of doing business. So that's basically that's all I wanted to say. I know I said a lot, not all I wanted to say, because I said a lot, but this is a very important time in American history. We need to get out to the polls. We need to talk to our friends and family. Get on the dialer and start making phone calls to swing states, to states coming up beyond Super Tuesday. This is going to be a fight for the long haul. With Klobuchar and Buttigieg dropping out, it does make it much more likely for a contested convention. We have to make sure Bernie goes into that convention with a large plurality of delegates. At this point, it's imperative, because if we give the establishment the smallest window to steal this nomination, that's exactly what they're going to do. So we need to remain steadfast in our support. If anybody is friends with any Elizabeth Warren supporters, we need to talk to them. I was going to end this video, but let me get into that real quick. Elizabeth Warren was supposed to be a progressive. She's supposed to be part of this movement, because remember, it's not me, it's us. It's not about Bernie Sanders. It's not about Elizabeth Warren. And Bernie Sanders understands that. It's not me, us. Elizabeth Warren doesn't seem to understand that. I always respected Elizabeth Warren. I'm starting very, very, very much to lose respect for her. And that does not make me happy at all to say that. It's just how I feel. Because right now, the only reason she's in this race is to play spoiler to Bernie Sanders. She wants to go on the convention with her delegates, and in some fantasy land, she thinks that she's going to be the consensus candidate. I mean, I feel bad for her at this point. I don't even mean that in like not a true way or whatever, but that's not going to happen. There's no way in a million years that's going to happen. I hope in the coming days Elizabeth Warren can understand that she can understand that we need to put this movement before our egos. That goes for me, that goes for Elizabeth Warren, that goes for Bernie Sanders. This is about a movement of the people. Change happens from the bottom up, not from the top to the bottom. I hope Elizabeth Warren can be with the people. I hope she can suspend her campaign and endorse Bernie Sanders, similar to what Klobuchar and Buttigieg have done with Biden. We can really, really use that boost in the arm right now. And if Elizabeth Warren, if you ever see this, or, I want you to hear this message. This is a movement of the people. This is a progressive movement. If you're part of this progressive movement, which you've fought so hard for years, we implore you to suspend your campaign, endorse Bernie Sanders, and join this movement. Continue to be one with this movement. It's not me, it's us. And we need you now more than ever. We need to put our egos aside, and we need to do what's best for the people. And right now, doing what's best for the people is endorsing a candidate that can win, and endorsing not only the candidate that can win, but the only candidate that can go on and beat Donald Trump in November. Bernie Sanders is the only candidate with enthusiasm behind him. He's the only candidate that's going to fill arenas and motivate people to the polls, multi-generational, multiracial. That's what's needed to beat Donald Trump. That's what Hillary Clinton was lacking. Enthusiasm. That's what Joe Biden is going to lack. That's what Michael Bloomberg is going to lack. So trust me when I say I feel it to my very core, and in my heart, Bernie Sanders is the only candidate that can beat Donald Trump. We need to elect the most electable candidate come the end of this Democratic nomination to take on Donald Trump. And that candidate is Bernie Sanders. So let's get on the phone. Let's talk to our friends. Let's talk to our family. Let's get on social media, post facts, positive articles about Bernie Sanders, about what this campaign has to offer and what this movement is all about. Don't let today, what happened, discourage you. We need to fight on. We need to go forward, and we need to keep fighting for this movement and for this progressive agenda. The people are behind us. The people are behind the progressive issues. We need to lay out our argument to the people. We need to get to this nomination with Bernie Sanders with either a majority or a large plurality of delegates. Then we need to go on in November and take on Donald Trump and expose him for the fraud that he is. So let's rally to the convention in Milwaukee. We are going to make our case to the American people, and we are going to win this thing. Let this, what happened today, fire you up. Get motivated, get knocking doors, get making phone calls. We need to win this thing. So, solidarity.